So we're going to make kale chips out of the kale that I collected. And the thing here is you don't want to dry this stem. It's going to take forever to dry and it will never dry completely and your leaves will begin to burn. So what I do is I just simply tear it off the main stem like so. And you can use these for like a stir fry. I don't. I toss them out into the compost, but I know people will use stems for soups or whatever they want to use them for. Like so. The little ones that we have, like these little ones, I'm just going to pluck the end off, but the vein is very small and thin and it will dry well. So I'm just going to throw these leaves in whole. It's only the bigger ones that need to be destemmed. And my son Dimitri likes to help. Do you want to pick him off like this? Видишь? So I have these picked off. Now to put in spices, I like to put in ground cayenne pepper powder, which I already have in the bowl, and ground black pepper corns, about that much. Now we like ours spicy. If you don't like cayenne pepper or black peppercorns, you don't have to put them in. Then I'm going to use about that much salt. That's a little bit over a teaspoon, I think, for this amount of kale. And again, it depends on your liking. And garlic powder. I'm going to put in quite a bit of garlic powder. And sesame seeds. I've done this without sesame seeds. It's really good, but I think when the sesame seeds get roasted, they add a really nice flavor. So about that much. Now with all of this, I'm just gonna mix it all well together because if I'm later gonna put oil in here. So if you don't mix the garlic powder with the sesame seeds really well, it turns out, it clumps and then it's really hard to separate it. So mix this all well together, and I have avocado oil in this container. So I'm just gonna pour avocado oil in here, about that much. I don't know, I do everything, a pinch of that, a dash of this. I don't have measurements for stuff like this. So I'm gonna mix it all really well. And then I'm going to just kind of pour it all over the kale. And then I've washed my hands. I'm gonna use my hands to mix all of this. I'm actually gonna take a kale leaf to wipe out from the bowl because you don't wanna wash all of this out. It's gonna take a lot of soap and water. Anyway, so here, and I'm just kind of, as I'm spreading this oil mixture, I'm also kind of massaging the leaves to crumple them up a little bit. You can see how they start to turn a little bit of a different color as I'm rubbing them with the oil and spices. So he wants to taste test. So then I'm going to put them out onto this cookie sheet and try and spread them out more or less evenly on the cookie sheet, like so. And they're ready to go into the oven now. So I've preheated the oven at 250. If you put the temperature lower than 250, they don't dry out, they just start to wilt and cook. So 250 seems to be the perfect temperature. I've tried at higher temperatures, and the leaves that are like the outside of the leaf gets singed, and the part of the leaf that's closer to the center stem is still damp. So in my oven, 250 seems to be working the best. So you'll probably have to decide or find out what's better for your oven. But I have the rack set down in the middle, and that's where I'm just gonna set them, and they're gonna stay in there for a while. Right, so the kale has been in the oven for almost 30 minutes. I'm gonna take it out and I'm going to mix it. The leaves on the outside of the cookie sheet will dry out a lot faster than the middle of the sheet. So I'm going to mix, pushing the ones on the ends into the center of the bunch and then just spreading them out again, like so. And as you can see, they're still far from dry, but I want to mix them now because if the outside leaves really start drying, they will burn before the ones that are in the middle dry out. So I'm going to spread them like this. And the more evenly you can spread them, meaning like you don't have clumps of kale, the better they will dry, because if kale is covered with other kale, it doesn't dehydrate well. So I think that's mixed pretty well. I'm going to throw these in here, take these out like so. And I'm going to put them back into the oven. All right, so I'm going to check these again. And as you can see, they're starting to change color a little bit. They're starting to dry out. So I want to make sure that now in this part of the drying process that I'm mixing them a little more frequently, because the kale on the ends of the cookie sheet are going to be drying out a lot faster than the ones in the middle. So I'm going to mix them really well. They still have a ways to go. Currently they've been in the oven for 45 minutes, so it takes a while. There, I'm gonna set them back in the oven. So the kale has been in the oven for an hour and a half, and it has turned into kale chips. As you can see, there's a lot less volume because the leaves have dried out, but it is absolutely delicious. So I'm just going to put this into the bowl.